Welcome back, everyone, to the Intel Extreme Masters. We're slowly reaching the halfway point of day 3. We've already had a team knocked out. All 4 hearts gone for CLG. But on the other side of the spectrum, we have Envious with $2,000 still in the bank if they win this tournament this way. 4 hearts, and of course, Happy joining us on the desk. Anders, welcome back yourself, too. And let's, first of all, big question here, I think, on everyone's mind. Are you going to go undefeated this whole week?
It's fair to say that at least we lost 1 life against TSM, at least. But of course, it's the main goal to not lose a single game, but it's a bit hard.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's looking good. Of course, you did play TSM once, too, on day 1. That went in your favor. But let's talk a little bit about how things are panning out now. Now that you're here, you just put SK versus TSM. Why did you not choose Renegades? Because Renegades still has 2-1 record against SK this week.
I mean, SK has got 1 more life, right? So basically, the team that lost to TSM right now is out of the tournament. And of course, I hope that SK snatch off a life of TSM, but it's probably not going to happen. So the teams that we're going to play right now against TSM... Oh no, it was...
SK has 2 lives. Yeah, SK has 2 lives.
Okay, well, I fucked up, but...
but okay, so even with 2 lives though, how does this work out? Are you obviously you're still hoping that SK can take a life out of TSM because that helps you a lot. If SK wins, do you think they will now be on your side? Because
on our side?
Yeah, because
they will never be on our side.
Is this a conspiracy against just the Danish people that are here, or just against all Danish people?
Just the ones that are here.
Oh, all right.
But all the ones that are here, right?
Anders also.
Yeah, including Anders.
There's not that many people, though, in Denmark in general. I mean, it could have been... Could have tried to take on everyone. Probably come out on top, too. So, I mean, whoever wins here, means Renegades has to play the next match, right? They will have the least amount of matches played today.
Right, by that point. Yeah, well, because SK will have now played and they can't play again, yeah.
Yeah, and they have to play either you or Mouse Sports then.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Wait, no, aren't you guys all tied, though, in terms of 5 matches? Because you've now played 5. Or 4.
Only 4, I think.
Yeah, no, because Renegades still played 5. Because they played 3 yesterday, they're actually well ahead. So they're not going to be in a place where they're forced to play for quite some time.
This is very interesting now then.
Yeah.
I can't like develop tactics.
No, now it's getting pretty complicated, right? Because we still here, but I think it's safe to say everyone's gunning for you guys at this point. Everyone's realized in one way, whether you wait for it or you start trying to knock lives off you. Now, TSM put Mouse up against you guys because they were hoping, especially after they saw it was Dust 2. Even if you guys are also gun on it, if anyone's going to take a map off of you guys in Dust, maybe it's Mouse. They set that up, but you guys just went through it 16-8. You guys crushed Mouse, especially in that second half. How are you guys feeling? I mean, in the beginning, we talked about it. You were like, well, yeah, we're still trying to figure out our chemistry and whatnot, but seems like as the days go by, you guys are just getting crisper in your play.
It's pretty much the same. We see this event as preparation for Cologne, the big major, and if it goes well, it's all bonus for us, but it's still preparation in our minds.
Yeah. I really want to know. Apex has been playing really well this tournament. When he was in Titan, did you look at him and think he's a pretty good player, but they're using him the wrong way? I think we can use him better. Have you had like a conversation with Apex and said how can we get the most out of Apex as a player?
Actually, I didn't watch a lot of Titan game because they were kind of irrelevant at some point. But when I watched it, the first thing I said to Apex when he came into the team was that him and KDS were good. They showed good stuff, but they lacked some consistency. And I was hoping that maybe they will be playing less good, but they will have like more consistency, like I told you before, like in comms and placement and stuff. And right now they are doing that, and it's working, because when it works, Apex and maybe not KDS, but mainly Apex, he can go like really mad fragging because of his role.
You were talking about leadership and how it's, we've been switching around, and we were wondering before we saw you play, okay, how's that going to work? But now we've seen, every time you guys go into a situation, it feels like everyone is committing to it like 150%, and it's like a one wave going further down. How does it seem from your point of view? Is like, are you in a comfortable position now? Everyone's really listening to you, and you get to do your own thing?
Yeah, as I said before, it's what I feel right now is that everyone is listening and trying their best to achieve what I said. And it makes a whole lot difference than any other player, because when they do that, even if maybe some part of them didn't believe in it, they will still try and try hard. And when it works, it's just like so good as an in-game leader. And when it works, yeah, it's just working, and we win matches.
Yeah, yeah, definitely seems to be working out for you guys for sure. If any of you guys missed that match, Envy taking Mouse down 16-8. Catch them on Plays.tv. Of course, all our matches here at the Intel Extreme Masters with the Catch the VODs and the highlights. Quite a few of them so far this week from all the teams for sure. Now, going forward, again, you guys are kind of now just sitting at the very top on a different scale, both in results, how comfortable you're feeling. But if we see this match play out and TSM wins, as most people might expect, against SK, SK also goes down to 1 life. Do you think TSM's going to sit there and say, we got to help our buddies out because we took a life off of them, let's just have Mouse and Renegades play against each other, because then at least another team will get knocked out and SK automatically moves up to 4th? Do you think that will happen? And if it does, are you just like fine with that because it's so distant from you at this point with 4 lives versus 1 life?
Well, it will all depend on what they choose. If they choose to help SK, they will hurt us against Renegades. But if they want to give them the better chance to win the whole thing, they will make us play against Mouse again.
You think they'll still go for that?
That's what I was thinking about. Because at this time, TSM has to be selfish as well. They have to start thinking, okay, Envy is sitting in 4 lives. That's way too many for their liking. So they want to pit Envy against Mouse Sports again and see how that works out. Because, I mean, you know, that was a convincing victory Envy just had. But, you know, another match, another map, you never know, you could get close. Mouse is still a good team, so definitely they want to play those odds.
So you're talking about mutiny here. I mean, you get court-martialed for that. You can't. That's dangerous. It's dangerous territory here.
Oh yeah, I mean this could get pretty serious. Now imagine that we see that scenario and it's going to be Mouse versus you guys again. And I don't mean to jinx anything, but if Mouse wins that one, they're at 1 life. SK and Renegades is both at 1 life. At that point, Mouse goes full berserk too, and they're like, well, we got to survive. It's just going to be SK Renegades regardless of alliances. And we could start seeing a real bloodbath here. And as D-Man was saying, we could see 3 teams get knocked out by the end of day 3. Things are getting pretty brutal. How is it to be so distant from elimination here on the 3rd day? I mean, it's aside from the fact that you guys are allied and having fun with Renegades, you guys have to be feeling very confident that you have so much more room to work with in day 4.
Yeah, I mean, let's imagine that all the team except TSM are gone. We'll have, if TSM lose 1 more life, not against us, we'll have a pretty big advantage, because it will be like they will have to win 4 maps and us only 2. So it's definitely like a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, one team's trying to play a best of 7 and one team's just trying to play a best of 3. A huge difference in mentality for sure.
Yeah, but I have to ask, and maybe I should know this already, but how does it work with the map picking stage? If it's down to 2 teams and one has, 3 lives, one of them has 4, do the community vote on every map so that essentially the order could get really, really weird?
I am fairly certain that the system still stays the same, right? So the community still has an influence, which at that point, I mean, both you and whoever, at this point, we're just going to assume, obviously, you guys are going to be here on day 4, which you have to be, but whichever other team, most likely TSM, because they have the most lives left out of the other teams, it depends on whose fan base really comes out stronger, right? You can really try to skew that and say, well, let's give them the stronger maps. Like TSM's fans can come out and say, give them their stronger maps in the first 2 matches so that they now kind of break even, and then you both have to win 2 maps or something like that. So community starts to really come into play. Are you confident that when it comes to day 4 crunch time, your fans are going to come out in full force and give you guys the preferable map so maybe you can just win the whole thing in 2 matches tomorrow or 3?
I hope so, but it's still random, right?
I mean, it is still random.
You still have to pick between 8 choices. So right now we have been a bit lucky with the map draft. We played Cobble, TSM, and twice Inferno, I think.
Yeah.
And once Dust 2, so I just hope it keeps going like this.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we talked yesterday briefly about Overpass possibly not being such a preferable map for you guys. Could have avoided it so far, but it might not pan out that way, especially if TSM starts revving forward.
I really want to ask you, this is a conversation that pops up every once in a while on Reddit and on HLTV, where people discussing Kenny's currently form. He had a point last year where he would drop, 30, 40 frags a game. and be the main dominant force. And then obviously they changed a little bit of the movement and how the scope works. And people have been saying, well, that's it. No, Kenny can't come back to that level again. What do you think? Do you think he can? I mean, obviously the great thing is maybe he doesn't need to in this team, but do you think he can still like reach that level from last year?
Well, as you said first, he doesn't need to. Like, if he has a game like this, it will definitely favor us because it's a huge force to be reckoned with. But he doesn't need to, and I don't think the update changed that much his playstyle. But it all depends on how he's used and how he's used and what do we ask him to do.
Yeah.
And right now I don't ask him to do so much. Like I said, you just have to do the minimum, and it's not only skill, it's comms, stuff, strats, etc.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're just constantly, every time we talk to you, what we're gathering is everyone seems to be much more on the same page, less pressure on with each individual, and you guys are all agreed upon that, so that's how things have been looking pretty good so far this week at the Intel Extreme Masters. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen at home on your screens, we are currently waiting for the match to start between SK and TSM on Cobble. Now, we saw SK play Cobble, of course, at the end of the day yesterday. Very nail-biting match up against the Renegades. They eventually took that one. Happy, I mean, you said you were going to, well, if, you know, we're probably supporting SK here to try to take a life off of TSM, but how much is that going to take? What does SK need to do here? Or is it simply, you know what, regardless of strategy or anything, if they're at their best game, then they'll have a chance. Other than that, TSM most likely going to take it.
I was watching them against Renegades yesterday. I saw the whole match, and SK feels like a bit of a mixed team. So I guess when you are playing as a mix, it all depends on individual. And Nico and Cadian yesterday played really great CS, and sometimes got a bit lucky, but they definitely played great. And if they can do that today, I think they actually might have a chance to beat TSM, because as I said, when we played them, it's not their best map by far. And it can work out for them.
And there's a foundation with SK, the core of this lineup, we mentioned this yesterday as well, has had a good track record on Cobblestone previously as well. So it's a map that most of these players like to play as well, even if they're a mixed team. And then, like you pointed out, there's the Nico factor. If he goes super mental, he's let to do whatever he wants to. You never know what's going to happen. But at the same time, you have to remember it's TSM. They've been pretty good recently, winning a bunch of championships here and there. So you know that it's a hard ask to ask anyone to really go nuts against them. So I mean, even though they had a hard match against NV previously on Cobblestone, I still think it's still pretty favorable for TSM.
Something to point out is that domestic matchups are always weird.
Oh yeah, sure.
And it's something we forgot to say. When you are playing your national team, which is the case right now, everyone knows each other.
Right.
Much better than like Swedish people or I don't know, French people. And I think Cadian, maybe if he's really into the game, he's interested in strategy and stuff, he will definitely know how TSM is working on the map. And I'm sure he watched the demo. You should have,
right,
at least. And it's another factor that may count.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, I mean, you guys played them on Cobble. You figured out that not their strongest suit here, and SK has had that advantage to look at that. Of course, at the same time, TSM saw how SK played yesterday against Renegades in that matchup and saw especially how fired up SK could get on this map.
Yeah, I spoke to TSM this morning when they were trying to do all the strategizing about who's going to be facing who and the Danish conspiracy and all that. They told me actually they added a new rule for the team. I'm not sure if it's going to help them, but and I'm not sure if it's been a problem for them in the past. But they said from now on there can be no farting during the pistol round.
That's farting?
Yeah, apparently that was a problem they've been having in the past. So,
Gas leaks. For a second, you said it with such a straight face. I was like, did I hear that word right?
So all right. Maybe that will be a difference now. I don't know.
I mean, in all reality, obviously that could be a factor. Hey, it could be, right? It changes literally the air in your booth. That could be an issue.
It's the small things that matter.
That's very true.
That's why we're here, guys, to bring you that inside information.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. I think the rest of the world also appreciates
I mean, that's why we're here, right? So the fans at home can know. Do people fart during rounds, and does that affect your gameplay? Apparently for TSM, we'll find out. We'll find out this match if that makes a difference. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. I do want to ask, so Happy, coming in, obviously you guys beat TSM the first time, but then compared to some of these other matches, obviously in reverse, like TSM has had to play CLG twice in that matchup. So some would argue TSM, so far, they haven't really been pushed to their limits after that first matchup against you guys. How are you viewing their gameplay so far at the Intel Extreme Masters? Are they still hitting that expectancy, do you think, that most people had?
No, I think they're definitely not the top 2 team in the world right now, after what they showed. But they still have the potential to be. You know, when you are playing such a great CS, on one day you can be monsters. And if it's the day we play against them, we might lose. And I guess right now, if we play against them, maybe tomorrow, it will all depend on who's on form.
Yeah, well, it definitely could be if it comes down to just one day of you guys butting heads here on the last day of the Intel Extreme Masters. Currently, we are on day 3, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching from home, CLG already all 4 hearts knocked out. Mouse and Renegades down to 1, and SK right now fighting to still keep 2 hearts up against their allied brothers on TSM. And SK takes that. They're going to have their choice of side, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to jump into this match. Can SK come out full force and bring TSM down to the same level of 2 hearts? Let's find out in the game.
Let's find out indeed. I'm joined by Lauren Pansy Scott, and we're going to be going into this one with a big smile on our face. Finally, the Danish Alliance is about to have to go head-to-head, and I mean, this means a lot to a lot of teams as well. I like that we've got to the stage now where this best of one doesn't necessarily only involve the 2 teams. There's so much more behind the scenes.
No, exactly. The amount of players who are glued to the screen, out in the crowd, they're like constantly peering in and constantly like looking up, what's the score, what's the score? Because everyone has their own little plan, right? There's slowly starting to unfold, some more than others.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Renegades. This is kind of something that was in the works. There were, every round Envious won, there was a little kind of fist cheer as they were kind of watching this one. And they wanted to see TSM and SK go down. They wanted to see SK lose an extra life, and of course, by doing so, would mean that TSM would have the choice of the next game. Would they want to put Envy and Mouse together? That's the kind of speculation. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out and the ones to follow. But let's turn our attention to this one. We did see SK win that knife round. They had the choice of side, and it looks like they're going to be starting on CT.
I thought the game was going live then. I don't know what the hell just happened.
You have a little panic.
Yeah, I was like, eh?
A minor panic.
Eh? Yeah, but no. It's going to be good. As everyone said, I think everything's been said to this point. Domestic matchup. On paper, it's all about your TSM. They should be stronger here. But SK, maybe they can bring something. Maybe Nico can shine again. We've seen that these guys can perform on this map. And this is certainly going to be a very hard opponent to prove it against.
Yeah, really intrigued to see what the Acadian factor brings as well. Of course, playing for TSM a couple of times, even over at the Pro League as well. So enticing to see if he can make a dent into the dogs of TSM. Here they come, though, charging to the side. Zipnix is the one that's first on the scene.
But there's 4 players from SK already here, and Nico's on the rotate. To be fair, SK are in the right place at the right time. Caddy and Sanden doing the damage. This is perfect.
This is insane. It's all down to Device, and he's got very little health to work with. He's gone down just the 1 consolation frag onto Berry, and a very strong start from SK.
And I used to love the fact that TSM were a really good pistol team statistically. You'd always look it up like, wow, they've got some great stats out there. And now, every single time I've seen them, they've been losing it. But to be honest, SK straight up, not necessarily stacked it right out, but you saw how quickly Nico was behind them. They knew what was happening. Yeah,
maybe that was just a really solid call. Maybe a bit of a risk, probably a bit of both. Let's see, though, where TSM want to go off the back of this one. They have forced up. You can see the Tech 9s, even a Deagle for Dupree, which is incredibly nice to say. Deagle Dupree.
Deagle for Dupree. Nice.
Either way, smoke getting thrown out, and he's actually the aforementioned Deagler is the one who's looking to try and find that entry frag. It's going to be, oh, Sanden was vulnerable. That was his chance. He doesn't quite connect and backs away. As with plenty of time for TSM, they're just going to be hoping and praying that they can find an entry onto the SK defense.
To be fair, Sanden was quite vulnerable then just because of the fact that no one in SK was really with him. They've kind of pulled back together here, but Sanden is still kind of a little on his own. But there we go. It's going to be Berry to go down, but Canyon trying to hold it together with P90. Zipnix comes in, and they are pulling them apart here. SK were just kind of one by one being torn apart by the opposition. Anyway, they're kind of pulling it back a touch, but now Asilian needs to lock it down. Cajun B up against Asilian. Bomb is loose.
Did he have eyes on Bomb? I'm almost certain he did.
You'd assume so.
So he must know that Cajun B is going to have to try and push towards B. Actually, I don't think he... Asilian? I don't think he did. Either that or he assumes Cajun B sweeps it up because he's rotating towards A.
What?
This is a wide open site, Cajun B. Things are starting to form up for TSM, and this is a round that they really kind of started. Oh my God.
No. Cajun B. Asilian, he's either the biggest mastermind in the world or just had the most lucky moment of his life. Oh, that's heartbreaking for Cajun B.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to have to kind of take a breath. Asilian, either the biggest mind reader in the world,
the genius,
or Cajun B is going to be sitting there like, wow, he read me well. Okay, then let's just shake that one off, as I'm sure TSM will, and look it towards this third round. Nico's going to go ahead and pocket himself 600 as he does find onto Carrigan. And there are 4 remaining TSM members. Just a few pistols for them. I say few. 2 P250s between them. And Cadian's going to be doing exactly the same thing with the MP9.
I love that MP9.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
It just bursts people down at the moment, and he's making a good bit of bank here. And considering how much work he did with the AWP previously, not bad to get him starting up building some on the bank now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we saw good things from SK on their CT side on Cobble previously. They really shone, especially Nico holding long. He'll do it with a Deagle, he'll do it with an AWP. We even, occasionally did see that double AWP come through, and that's the first for Dupree in this round, but I think that's pretty much all they're going to be given, as Cadian's going to sweep them under the rug. Cajun B is going to be found by Sandon. 3 then on the board for SK, and you guys on the desk that were talking about what would be required from SK to pick this win up for an incredible upset in this kind of home matchup, and I think it has to be said, getting the first 3 is a start.
It really is. They've been very close these rounds, haven't they, though? Occasionally, like, obviously down to that one-on-one.
Yeah.
But SK have held up so far, but this is the gun round, this is the important one. TSM do not have an AWP just yet, but Nico does, so he's going to pick that one up, as you noted, playing towards long. And TSM, on the other hand, taking their time. They're not rushing this, but they do actually have a lot of presence over towards the A side. Yeah,
they've got plenty of flashbangs. We saw that TSM have this real preference to kind of flashing that entry in, and they'll double flash it as well. That's going to be the start, but nothing there for SK. Backing away, Nico's the one to draw blood. That's Device now down and out, and TSM, they are making progress, but I'm pretty sure Nico's read this well.
Carrigan is going super aggressively. He knows he can catch him. Nico! What? Just slaps down Carrigan. That could have thrown off the whole timing then. Now TSM are kind of in little bits and pieces. Cajun be in a good spot. Nico backs into a corner. Maybe they can make something from this.
Yeah, absolutely, and Nico is finally going to be put to bed by Cajun B, but Cadian and Asilian are quick to respond. Zipex, I just called him his actual correct name, that's unusual.
I like that you corrected yourself.
Yeah, like, hang on a second. It's going to be trying to find anything, and not going to happen. Cadian again picking up 2 that round. Nico with a double of his own, and those 2 are going to be very comfortable, and that's a big test. That was their first real test off the back of the pistol, and it's good to see that SK standing strong, standing vigilant, and TSM again forced to scrape something together. A body armor for Dupree, in fact, Device following suit, and looks like a couple of Tech 9s as well. This was actually where TSM found the most success so far, with a couple of Tech 9s.
Yeah, they are so deadly with these. I think Mals know that to a degree. Nico's going to have to be a little cautious here. He can get overwhelmed, but Asilian is going to hold the push, plays it smart, just keeping calm. But TSM are trying to keep that pressure going. But Nico, once again, arm's length, having known it, missing that one, and Zipnix is going to love that opportunity. Device comes in, and actually no one from SK went towards the side. Cajun B's in a good spot. They could maybe get a punt out of this, and maybe even the round.
Yeah, this is getting costly, especially if that bomb does go down. Berry has to really hold this cross because it's Zipnix that has the bomb. He really needs to get across, and Berry's going to make it difficult onto Cajun B, but he's putting in the digits, and I don't think SK can
Look how low SK are. Berry's down to 2 HP. Nice! Beautiful play. The 4K comes in with the Tech 9, and that is exactly what you want from these boys on TSM. They are deadly in those rounds, and you can never assume it's a comfortable win. And look at the economy now on the side of SK. Asilian 2K here. We're going to have a Deagle. Oh, that's a really weird buy coming through. So Nico got dropped out to a gun. Cadian's going to pick up the AWP. Asilian's going to have the 5-7 with a bit of utility, but this is a very kind of string together sort of purchase.
SK like to mix it up with the AWP. Sometimes Nico will take it long, sometimes Cadian. We've seen how prominent he can be over on the
maybe
the
a couple of doubles.
I mean, yeah, cheeky 4 kills with 2 bullets, but let's see what Carrigan's got here. He has managed to push through, and something that If anyone can do it, Carrigan can try and make an impact. Not going to happen though. The flash does make him reveal himself, and he's backing out of there wisely. Now, where can this buy get SK? The fact that TSM, I mean, let's not forget the first Tech9 Force they had managed to get into a 1v1. Now they've just won one. Maybe that's something, you know, it's something Joe was saying earlier. Maybe teams should just stop buying Tech9s to have so much success with it. TSM was doing the same on Inferno. And they are preparing for a very scary execute. Can SK hold?
Cadian? This is incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. He's going to have to run away. He's now having to hold so close. That was such an error. Device and Dupree, crack it open. TSM, if you make a mistake like that, they are going to love that. They've got the site, they've got control, and they have 4 players still alive.
Yeah, they just sweep into the site. Very nice from TSM. Very little, actually, that SK could do with Cadian's positioning. He kind of made a bit of an error there, a misread, not anticipating the 4 players to be pushing through that smoke. And now Nico's looking to try and take a couple with him. Does catch Zipnix. That's something. Going to steal the AK as well, as he's going to be happy. Feel like that's a pretty worthy trade-off, as he's anticipating some pushing from TSM, but I think they realise that they've done enough, and that's going to put 2 on the board for them. 4-2 will be the score, and the economy from the CT side is going to look very bare.
Yeah, certainly starting to look a little worse for wear, but Nico, as you mentioned, does at least get away with that AK, so curious to see where he's going to take it, see how they utilize it, how they put it into practice. Go see some B250s, Deagles, not much else. They can't really afford it. They're pretty skint, 1.9 overall, or you know, throughout the vast majority of them. But looking at performance so far, Carrigan a little quiet. Now, I look back, it is still early in the game, of course. He was absolutely instrumental in towards their B plays. He always dances between that smoke on platform so well, in the way I look at it, but hopefully he can find a little bit of form here, and it definitely had some pressure towards SK, but we're seeing Nico being dedicated towards this B side, which is actually a fantastic read, but the flashes are on point from TSM, and Carrigan doing what he does best.
And I think TSM have got a good read on here. I think they realise that the site's very vulnerable. Berry's got so little to work with, just a USP, and if you could find a head, just one would make things 10 times easier. The bomb's probably going to be going in. It is Dupree, the one punching in the digits, and it looks like Berry could have found an angle. Did go hyper-aggressive through the smoke, but nothing going to come of it, and this will be another for TSM, as SK just hoping and praying they can take something with it. But, I mean, taking a frag, that's something. That's better than the clean sweep.
It's better than nothing. But at least they've really got to use.
Interesting point to make is the fact that Nico and Cadian swapped up. I mean, it's of course because of that AK.
Yeah.
They obviously understand that TSM are really favouring the kind of execute onto B so far, and they've found a whole lot of success with it as well.
Well, they definitely have, and it seemed to be a little bit of a mixture. And I want to see SK on a full buy without Cadian going hyper aggressive or playing in a really strange predicament. Cadian going to go look for maybe a gun here if he can pick up the one that was dropped. Not going to find a thing, and we will be seeing SK once again buying back into this now. They still don't have the ideal money in this situation. It's still a little bit weaker, so utility's not going to be ideal, and we'll definitely not have the AWP on Cadian just yet. But on the other side of things, TSM, flush for cash, they've got everything they need, every piece of utility. But I want to see if SK can actually hold off TSM now. They're starting to build that confidence on that B site.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to mix something up. And Carrigan, again, rinse and repeat. This time, though, he's going to push through the flash. And the smoke. Sandon flicks around and finds Carrigan's head. Asilian does the same through smoke. Fantastic. As that's now Device down. And TSM, they're going to have to battle uphill with just 3 remaining. They've been doing very successful pushes when they have the numbers. This, however, has been spun around thanks to Asilian and Sandon's entries. Very solid from them. Opening frags. Something a bit of a rarity so far for SK. It looks like TSM still want to try and find a way in.
And SK are actually in a very good position here. They're not openly challenging, and I prefer it when they don't do this. I get a little nervous, even when just seeing Sandon then in that position. He's still got the kill somehow, but at the moment, TSM just testing their nerves, seeing if they can play slowly. Someone makes an error, makes a mistake, buries his eyes trained on where Dupree is. The pop flash comes through perfectly. The bullets being exchanged, information gathered. They roughly know where each other are, and actually SK drastically outnumbered TSM towards his B side, but Cage and B doesn't care.
Oh no.
That's Berry already gone. Dupree is now able to start roaming. He spots one at the door, doesn't get the shot off, but Sandon holds close and he does get the shot, denying TSM the cross towards the site, and now Zipnix 1v3, already down to 22 HP. Can't do anything with it. Caddy in there watching it, and SK play cool, calm and collective, do not overextend, and they get the round.
Yeah, really much needed round for SK as well. As you can see, TSM's economy pretty unfazed by that loss of the round, all sitting kind of above that 6k market. And we are going to be seeing a whole lot of Molotovs, 4 for the T side, and putting the AWP back in the hands of KGB. Intrigued to see where they want to go with this one. We haven't seen too much everyone towards the A site, and I mean, Nico very dangerous on that A site. And well, more specifically towards long, and it looks like that's exactly where KGB is anticipating his presence.
Barry and Sandon going very aggressive again. SK will actually really fight for using this. It's quite surprising how much they do so, but Dupree does catch a glimpse of one towards drop.
I mean, I think the reasoning behind SK really kind of putting a whole lot of favor and a whole lot of resources on towards platform control is because they know how dangerous Karrigan is when he gets there. It's something that he's done time and time again. Dupree catches a glimpse of one towards drop, and actually Berry's going to rotate. Does that mean he expects Cadian, though?
You'd assume not. That's the whole purpose, isn't it? Cadian's going to do turning in case that was a flash. Not going to happen, but Dupree is checking. Dupree is looking for this, but he's not actually checked fully into the corner. And there we go. Cadian will at least get the 1-for-1 trade, and that is going to really make it difficult for TSM to make something out of this now. But they are still looking towards drop. But the bombs with Device, it's over by A.
Yeah, 40 seconds for the T-side, and Zipnix with another one. Sandon quick to trade it out, though. Both of these teams incredibly proficient in trading frags. You saw Zipnix do it just a second ago as well. And it does look like that exchange and drop has led TSM towards that A site. It's going to come down to Nico, and I really am excited to see what he can do here.
He's playing smart. He's not overextended. Actually, timing might be a problem there. He's going to bounce out of that one with the molly in hand. Just now needs to make the play, though. Molotov to his left. They know he's tucked into the corner. He's going to try and work off the flash. Can't do it. Karrigan's molly will do the damage. And now just down to Karrigan. He's got 2. Can he get to 3rd? No. Asilian round the back will control the threat. And SK maintain the solid lead.
SK looking comfortable, and this is starting to get incredibly exciting. I mean, it is CT side Cobble. We have to continue to remind ourselves that as they do start to pick up rounds. And oh, hang on, I think we have a bit of an interesting buy. I started seeing SMGs. I think you're not going to be seeing Cadian pick it up. Berry does manage to find armor as well. Things are okay. Sigh of relief as TSM have managed to get everything together. Limited nades. You can see KGB without any, and even a Galil for Zipnix. But here comes Karrigan just charging through. This is what SK have been trying to get rid of as much as they can. But
he's stuck on the box.
Oh, beautiful. One bullet from his FAMAS is all it needs, as the Molotov did the majority of the work there. And Sandon again finding Karrigan on platform.
It's so ironic. I was going to say how smooth he is when he tries to take towards that platform and gets caught on the box on the way out. But nice bit of work coming through from SK, getting that opener, denying Karrigan any presence, and kind of understanding them what TSM are doing is going to help them so much here, even on a less favourable purchase. But Device still looking, going to pick up the mantle that was left by Karrigan. Maybe he can catch off Cadian here, who's sneaking up. He's getting very close. Actually, Cadian could do some damage now. Dupree has found Berry. You can see Sandon show his hand and kind of tease it out, let them say, oh, there's no one else here, and it's going to be Cadian. He does do the work with the SMG, and now TSM are starting to lose out in numbers. Bomb is in hand, but these guys are putting up a damn good fight. Sandon, head down, waits. They have crossed. The bomb could go down here. Both playing the site well. Zipnix starting to peek. Nico's having none of it. He's going to start making the play towards the side himself. Round the side we go, but KGB and Zipnix send them back packing. Now he's down to Sandon. 1v2, he gets the first. But KGB holds strong, but my God, that got a little bit too close.
So damn close, and I mean, TSM really looking to be tested here on this T side of Cobble. They're kind of supposed to be in the driving seat, and we are seeing SK really put up a fantastic fight so far. Look at the buy, though. Looks like they want to try and continue to fight. And I mean, the point I wanted to make beforehand was just how amazing Sandon's been playing with the FAMAS. It almost feels like he prefers it at this point. He's been definitely the one in the team to be quite happy to drop that, make that slight sacrifice for his team. And here comes TSM battling for drop control. We've seen the limited success with KD. Oh, Berry, you can't miss that shot. You just can't. Zipnix, though, is going to look for a second onto KD. He's only got 6 points of health, and Dupree is there to hold his hand. And it looks like this one is all over. Nico and Asilian going to be happy to keep the body armor and the weaponry. And that's going to be the 5th for TSM, most likely. Bomb goes in to kind of ensure it. And Nico does go hunting to an extent, wants to put a weapon in his hand, and I don't think Device is going to make it easy.
Yeah, and that round was just TSM dousing any possibility of Mousesports picking this one up. And Nico has a glimpse of one back. Oh, he's actually tagging this guy up over there. He might be able to do something. Device is going to have to be a little more cautious, but not going to stay alive that time. Karrigan saying, hey, by the way, Berry, that's what you should have done, just to remind you. But Asilian should be able to make it out of here, at least with the gun. I don't think anyone's going to be able to chase it that far.
Yeah, this is essentially, this entire part of the map is the saving tower. This is pretty much where the only time you're going to be seeing this map a lot. This part of the map, rather. As, let's see then where they go from here. 6-5 the score here at the Intel Extreme Masters. The Danes forced to play against each other because of this French-Australian alliance we have started to see taking shape.
And it's great seeing this pan out so early on. You start to, theorycraft maybe that these allegiances could be coming around and all these teams kind of consorting against each other, but it's actually coming through and it's brilliant to watch. But this time Device going first, then not Carrigan. Okay, there we go. Carrigan's going to take over. Obviously, CT side has almost nothing to work with here, and Device going to enjoy that one, pad it out. They do need to keep their numbers together, and they can really do with a nice, clean round on the board for TSM.
Looks like exactly that. Clean, calm, and collected. As that's going to be 6-6. They managed to find the equalizer. Still, fantastic form on the CT side of Cobble for SK. They've acquired 6. They're going to be feeling incredibly comfortable and incredibly confident, especially if they can add any more to that scoreline.
And to be fair, they're one of the teams I actually don't know if they prefer CT or T on this map.
Yeah.
It's the discussed point, isn't it? A lot of teams still feel really comfy on the T side, really like to play it as, almost the advantageous side itself.
Yeah, it's intriguing. You see some people say with such conviction that it is a T-sided map, and we see evidence of that like 60-70% of the time, but then the CT side just turns up and it's intriguing.
But SK have stacked this side out now. They have 4 players here, just Nico left on towards A. Sandon's found a Device. They're starting to read TSM very, very well by this point, but TSM going to put pressure towards Drop, putting 2 players in there. Sandon's already backed out. He's going to deal with 1, but does he expect the second? Yes, he does. He comes in with a Cillian, gets the job done. We're back down to a 2v2. Nico and Cadian, though, going to have to put in the work. The bomb's down, and Carrigan and Cajun B just going to stay alive.
Cadian, that's actually quite a safe little corner. Very happy with that one, as it's going to enable him to stick around, drop, and wait for his teammate to come in. Here they come, though. Cajun B holding in Coop, making sure his chickens are in order, as it's going to be Cadian trying to stay alive. Not going to happen. Cajun B and Carrigan got a very deadly crossfire, and Nico in a near impossible situation. Time ticking away, and TSM, these are rounds they just don't lose. It's something I was saying earlier. You can see evidence of it on Inferno. They just hold these lines. They are never going to peak unless they need to. Fantastic communication and experience comes out on top, and the 7th is on the board for Team SoloMid.
And SK have so little money to work with. They could maybe go for their scrappy, strange buys that they seem to like going to, but nothing near what they need to really try and put a challenge to TSM. It seems that they get these close rounds, they do have moments, but when it comes down to the kind of, as you mentioned, the very core dynamics of the 2v2s, they don't lose those. They play so well in those instances, TSM, and we're going to see Carrigan doing what he does, just heading off there, but Caddy is actually boosted up on towards Berry, and Zipnix is very close to it. It's just like whack-a-mole right now, and Zipnix sadly has to back away from that challenge, as already the rest of his team is beginning to build towards that B site, as Cajun B stretches his legs, as SK are now down to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to write Nico out of a round with a Deagle, but he is going to be taken down by Zipex. Fortunately, I can cross his name off the list, as it's going to be just Cadian. Cadian is a cutie, apparently, as he's going to be trying to find the head of Cajun B, and does so. Happily going to attempt to try and retrieve that rifle. I'd be intrigued to see if they let him. Oh, I think he realizes that AK looks so damn tasty, so damn appealing.
Look at him.
Oh, he'll take that. Not even going to swoop up the smoke, as he'd have to overextend. He's going to walk straight, though, into Zipnix's drop room, and he got away with it. Very nice, then. Just looping back around. He's going to be able to take the rifle away from this one, assuming he survives. Oh, cutting it fine. 5 points of health. He's the mathematician as well as a cutie, apparently. And it's going to be 8-6, then. Last round on the first half. I
really hope people actually noticed that was what his CZ was called, because you clarified at no point. You were just like, Cadian's really
just calling him a cutie, yeah. On the desk at Cavite, so he just said some sweet things to me, and I've loved him ever since.
Biased casting, God.
That's absolutely right, yeah.
Anyway, we're going to see the orb battle going down, and this time there's actually 2 for SK. First time we're going to get to see this one in practice, this game at least. But TSM charging through towards A. Nico already met one on long, that's Device down, but TSM are not slowing for a second. Nico is going to have to go above and beyond. He can't do it. Dupree denies him, and now SK need to backtrack.
Where did this pace come from? TSM look like a team possessed as they just charge on towards the A site, and SK, they're going to have to play for the retake, not something that they're a stranger to. They can easily format something. They have a utility. There's a whole lot of mollies, a whole lot of flashes more so, rather. And they are readying themselves to take this one, but time is of the essence.
They haven't really had to do it on this site all that often, but you can see the choreographed retake coming into play. Sand and Berry do what's required, but Cajun B and Dupree stand in their way, and Dupree is doing what he needs to, saving this one for his team, and now Cajun B up against Berry 1v1. Cajun peeking through the smoke. Berry's going for this one. He connects through the smoke, denies the defuse, and TSM with that fast play towards A closed down the final round of the first half.
So a 9-6 half. SK, they got those 6 rounds early. Let's not forget the first 4, as well as those 2 kind of quickly after. They had picked up 6 under their belt, and then TSM started to kind of get a feel for things. But going into that T side, it's time for the SK to prove to us that they're comfortable with that. I have no doubt that that could have gone a whole lot worse for them.
Yeah.
So that's really solid.
But then again, we were discussing this before with TSM. It's like, it's a great game, but when they get on their CT side, suddenly it's like, it's still TSM, all right? You can't believe the hype until you see them on their CT side. It's like, okay, well, this is where they break ahead. This is where normally people can't compete. But then again, Nico always has outstanding T side, so I want to see how much he can bring to the matter. And we're seeing Mouse heading straight towards that B side. Carrigan and Cajun B gonna have to take him on. Yep,
Nico does sweep on into the side, trying to find the head of Carrigan. He's got teammates behind him, and he does find one, but back and forth we go, and they are doing almost a kind of rinse and repeat of what TSM did, what they brought to that B site in that pistol round. Looks like Zipnix and Device have got something to say, though, and then Nico, 19 points of health in a dream. Not gonna happen as Dupree is there. And TSM managed to do exactly what SK did on that first pistol round, keeping the site safe, and we see double figures for TSM.
Yeah, TSM breaking 10 rounds in now. SK needs to be a little careful with this one. You don't want to let TSM start spiraling here, but we do have the UMPs coming out to play. A couple of AP90, should I say, before I say a couple, but Device can be picking up that one. So looking to maybe find up some of that cash, but SK have actually purchased a good bit of armor, a heck of T9, Tech 9s. You've got 2 there, you've got the CZ, you've got the Deagle, and a P250. So actually SK have got a lot to work with here. Cillian is considering that B site, but a lot of utility put out very early on by TSM.
This is, a reminder for you guys, if you didn't quite catch CPM, we did see TSM and SK clash, and we did see SK, of course, come out on top of that one. So this is a bit more of a proving match. The first thing TSM said, or rather TSM fans said, was that it wasn't TSM at their best. They weren't necessarily applying themselves as much as they should have.
I love Nico's just style of play. It's beautiful to watch. Even just on that intrinsic level, just crouching under to change the angle he peeks up at the second time. It's brilliant to see. But he is going to be trying to take on drop here, and Carrigan going to have to be a little cautious. You can't underestimate this man. And actually, Mouse have a good chance to really push down TSM. They've got control of mid. They're going to split TSM in half, and Sandon finds Carrigan. This is brilliant. They're starting to flood through this map.
This comes down to a Dupree with the M4. Not going to happen. Nico's there with a deal. All of a sudden, this could be SK's round, and TSM are going to be really wondering where it all went wrong. It's not over yet, though. Device onto Nico. He has a FAMAS now. He has that rifle. The range is going to be there, but I think he's realized that SK have only gone and done it. And that is a crucial round. Remember that one. A round across the board for everyone. You can see each one, well, 4 of the 5 members of SK picking up 1 apiece, and they're going to be happy to see 7 so early in this second half.
I absolutely love seeing teams taking over drop like that. Carrigan just had to back away. You can't underestimate it. And even just getting those tags early on, slowly working down TSM like that. I think it was actually Carrigan who got tagged at the start, and there was another player by those double doors, and just slowly but surely working away at them, getting mid-control. Yeah. There we go. He gets Sandon down at least, and he shouldn't be found. So, SK turning around that they really needed then, which is fantastic to see. So they're kind of doing the TSM style almost. They're able to pick up a couple of rounds of those Tech 9s, cutting the map in half and obviously overwhelming on the side they want to. But now let's look at TSM's situation, a 5-7 P250s, and then you still have Device, of course, who was able to maintain that from the prior round. SK could do with a really clean, nice start to this. It's a 4-man stack towards A from the CT side, but the Ts are all heading towards Device.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a very quick rotate call made by Device as he starts hearing footsteps, starts seeing nades thrown out as well. And here comes TSM to try and deal with this one. But as you said, SK want to do this cleanly, and Nico starts doing just that, sweeps Device's head off. He's going to find a second as well. These unarmored TSM members cannot fight this. As looks like Zipnix might be able to catch one by surprise. Berry not going to be falling to that one. And the remaining 2 TSM members are going to be hoping and praying that this isn't going to be a completely clean one. This feels very reminiscent of what we just saw on the previous half. A second round that comes incredibly close. Let's not forget, that 1v1 in the second round, and then you have an incredibly clean round in the the third, excuse me. Yeah, so, SK, they are looking good. I mean, there's only so many ways I can say it, but we've got a game on our hands, Lauren.
I think we actually do. The nades are being brought up for TSM. Maybe they're going to push together, try and get some damage done towards B if they hear him coming over towards there. So that's their game plan, basically. There's not much beyond that. I think they've got a couple of, B250s again. So, yeah, not too much. There we go. There's a couple of nades going through. Actually does a good bit of damage towards Nico. He did slow down, though, so he doesn't get the full force.
I mean, yeah, if he hadn't ducked into that corner, he would be looking a whole lot worse for wear. And there's even more nades where that came from. Nico is going to be a frag magnet at this point.
I get so annoyed. It was like, first you catch me.
4? Are you serious?
Can you not?
4 nades? He's got a big target plastered onto his chest.
But to be fair, he's keeping 3 players dedicated towards B, maybe 4 if you include Carrigan. And the whole of SK are going towards A. Zimnix is going to see them pretty soon, but Asilian's there, and to be honest, SK are playing this very well. They're keeping this one clean. Nico's a little low. He wants to be a little cautious on that. He's trying to play a little passively, but Berry does get found at least. But this is just nice work from SK.
Yeah, I mean, Nico selling that fake to a degree, but also it just comes down to how well SK managed to make that. I mean, they played it slow. They were not going to be fall to any kind of trickery from TSM. Yeah. They wanted to make that real solid, and they've done just that. Device then with just a P250 is going to be the last one to be swept under the rug. And looks like Cadian is going to be the one to do it. I say that, it's actually a man sneaking up behind us, Nico, of course, who's going to be on the prowl, and I think Device has kind of forgotten about that presence on towards the B site, and he does go down. Nice then from SK, 10-9 the score. TSM, they hit double digits a long time ago. We haven't seen too much from them since then.
But this is the round.
Let's go.
This is the one. I love seeing the gun rounds between these two teams because you have such beauty between them.
Lots
of
money.
And the economy, yeah, is very solid for SK. They were so clean on their T rounds. Their first few have been pretty much perfectly done. A hell of a lot of bomb plants. They're pretty much golden. But we are seeing something similar here. Nico towards B, and the others slow walking towards A. Now, Zimnix and Device will be the CT players just down below. No one's really got eyes on Long. This is not a bad shout. Nico, if he can keep their attention here and doesn't get picked up by KHB too early, it could have done more, but Zimnix and Device might start asking questions here, and Zimnix is looking the right way.
I think that's enough. That is it. One little glimmer, 1 pixel, and the message is sent. Now a TSM on the rotate. Don't forget, of course, this is TSM with rifles. SK probably not going to sweep through them as easily as Device finds one. Oh my lord, doesn't connect the second. Switches to the pistol for hoping for better luck, and he finds it as Asilian is the only one so far from SK to do damage.
And in the meanwhile, Dupree is starting to roam, but he doesn't need to because Device single-handedly is keeping this round in check. It is Zipnix round the back to close it down. TSM showing SK pretty much how it's done there on the gun rounds.
Yeah, neat and tidy. Really quick rotate as well from TSM. The fact that they can trust Zipnix's call after seeing... I mean, you saw how little was seen there.
It was 1 step across, but it's enough for them, and they went off the back. But we did say earlier the economy was quite strong. They had a lot of money still saved on the SK side, so they can build back up, and we do have Cadian with the AWP.
Yeah, it does, of course, just reinforce what we were saying before about how important having really solid rounds is, not losing too many men in the wins. I mean, you look no further than the Mouse Sports Renegades game, where after 9 successful wins, 1 Renegades round, and they were forced to eco.
Going up again.
Let's see what you've got for us. KHB catches a glimmer of Nico's head. Not going to find the second, though, as Asilian does trade it out. And we find ourselves in a 4v4.
Yeah, we certainly do. And T-side not really committing into it just yet, though. Asilian out on his own. Cadian still looking for a shot in case a boost came through by drop. Not the case this time. TSM holding fairly standard. Asilian needs to be careful. Carrigan is just down towards the left there. Dupree not too far off either. It looks like we might see that play towards B coming into effect. Sandon and Cadian doing the work there. That's exactly what they need. Just start chipping away at the B site. Cadian now going to join Asilian. And the bomb might just be towed towards this B site. Players now lining up. Carrigan, 1-for-1 exchange, but there's still Dupree here, and Dupree can pull out these magic rounds sometimes when required, but Zimnix is still so far off. But he's going to go for the brave play. He's going to go through the smoke. I think Sandon's got a bit of an idea he might be trying that one out, but he's still going to give it a go, and it works out for a 1-for-1, but it's not good enough. Zipnix now needs to go big, and that smoke has helped him to no end.
Yeah, I think SK are just going to be playing the waiting game, very kind of TSM-esque with the safety that they're looking for in this round. Of course, this would be the 10th for them. That's a molly, though. He does have the utilities, does have a kit. He looks like he might be going for the full one. Do SK anticipate this? They do. Berry's going to try and get eyes on it. 1 second, fortunately. Berry is not going to fluff his lines, and we do see 10-11 as SK do find the 10th. Really important round there. If that had slipped away, I do not want to know what SK comms would have gone like. But taking a look at the scoreboard as well, you can see that pretty solid across the board. Under a performance from Berry, the man who did just pick up a very crucial frag over the Molotov. And this one is pretty damn neck and neck.
TSM absolutely strapped for cash as well. 2 Deagles, P250s. Can't do the damage they'd want to in this one, and it should bring the game back close. But then again, we always say this, TSM sometimes can turn these rounds. And Carrigan, ooh, he's toying with it. He was considering it. And just going to try and tuck himself in the corner instead. But it does seem as though SK will be going towards B. Cadian splitting off through drop. KHB's there. They're just playing it slow.
Yeah, and he could just get caught by Dupree's Deagle, though, down to 3. But in the meantime, he responds with a headshot into KJB. Wow, Dupree finishes what he started as he does find Nico. And they're not doing too shabby. 2 from Dupree has managed to keep the numbers level. Of course, the buy most definitely isn't. And nice from Asilian finds Dupree. It looks like TSM have done all they can, or rather Dupree has done all they can. As I mean, SK, they're not one to take too many risks. They are going to be very cautious as they approach this site. 40 seconds, and just Device and Zipnix hoping and praying they can catch them by surprise.
And the unknown element here is still Device. He didn't really give away the game, but now his presence is certainly known. And it's going to be Cadian diving through the smoke with the CZ. And we are back at 11-11. This game is going to be a close one. And already, looking at the T side, let's take this into account here. They've still got a fair bit of money in their pockets. You've got Nico with 4.9. He's going to be able to buy up here. But you look around, Cadian's going to drop that one out as well. He's got 3K still in the bank. These guys are doing pretty good, to be completely honest with you, with a full buy-up. On the other side, I think Device, is he really with just CZ, or does he have an AWP as well? Is that it?
Das ist alles. Yes. That was very German. Okay, let's move away from that one. What on earth? Slight brain fart, everybody. I'd like to apologise for that one. As I pull a Joe Miller. Let's see where they want to go with this one. SK then trying to format an offensive towards B every time. I mean, it seems like it's something that we see on Cobblestone an awful lot, is that leaving one man over towards the opposing side. Looks like we're going to be seeing Cadian again with an entry.
So good in drop.
So consistent, it seems, in drop room, both on attack and defense. As Dupree does evade that flash, but he's going to be standing very vigilant. Doesn't want to allow that an entry into the site. Nico, the one that's trying to find the other door. Again, so much invested towards drop room, and it's just Dupree who's just going to be standing there saying, what have you got next? Oh, Nico wins it out with just 1 point of health remaining, and he's going to be very lucky to be alive.
He's in the best place possible, gets down the bomb, looks for the second, he needs it, one more shot, Sandon down to 11 HP, and Berry coming around to save the day, just going to just pile in, just zero care, zero respect, catches out 2, brilliant work from Berry, bringing that one back in check, but Dupree has managed to cross over without being spotted by SK. They do not know he's here. Bomb is still with Sandon. This could be huge. He is going to have to take the shot. He does kill Cadian, but he knows there's going to be another play. The bomb has to go down. 10 seconds left, and Berry saving SK's skin that round, not only once, but twice.
People laughed at the TSM result over at APM, seeing, you know, SK come out on top of that one in a best of 3. We're in a best of 1, and they're keeping it close. 12-11. Is it time to see TSM lose another life? And I mean, you see their economy now, they're going to be back down to just the pistols, and SK quite the opposite. Let's see where they choose to build into this round. Looking to mix it up as well. We saw TSM doing a pretty fine job of keeping that drop room push limited, and it was Dupree who did it before. This time only down with the Deagle, though. And SK, again, this is what we saw before when they kind of understand TSM's economy. They like to take it super careful. Asilian finds the entry.
And you can see exactly as to why Carrigan gets a little, little pushy. They get up nice, close and personal. You want to take your time. And Nico already showed his prowess with a Deagle and drop. Now he's got an AK to really put it to use. And I like this from SK. It's showing that they do have a very mature temperament towards the game, understanding the pacing that they need to assimilate, and exactly what they're doing. Berry makes light work of 1, but can't follow to Zipnix, but the trade should go in their favor here. Should.
Oh my word. Should. That is the most definitely
diabolical spray. Yeah.
That is the that should is the key word there, Lauren. But he does manage to pick it up in the end. He's just making it exciting for us at home. And then Cajun B has managed to put an AK in his palms, but see if he can pull the trigger on any of the remaining SK players. Bomb goes down, and actually Sandon walks straight on into his crosshair. That could very well be a second, but Asilian too quick and a little more armored than his opponent. And that's 13. Right. It's unlucky for some. Are SK going to get stuck here? Or are we going to be seeing TSM fall foul to their Danish? I was going to say friends, it's more so rivals at this point.
How will this then affect the alliance? If suddenly...
What alliance, Lauren? That's gone.
That's a good point. It's over now.
Yeah.
It must have been love, but it is over now. But still, SK back in this one. No AWP to be seen. They're still running just rifles on this. We do have Device picking up the AWP, though.
Yeah, mixing it up, of course. Cajun B was the one picking it up on that T side. As we do see that flexibility from TSM time and time again. Carrigan, we saw what happened last time Nico challenged this, and wouldn't be surprised if he wants to do exactly the same thing. He is just on the other side of that wall. Asilian as well, who's been incredible this game. Sitting middle of the scoreboard, 17 frags for him. you know, I feel like actually I've been saying a lot about all of these names. Sandon, again, a player who I saw incredibly strong over on that CT side. And each member of SK demonstrating why they are currently in that roster. 50 seconds there, and they need to start hurrying things up towards a site.
They've still got a couple of mollies, so they can execute pretty quickly. They can check corners almost by just throwing them out. They can say it's cleared, but they do spot Carrigan. That's important, but Carrigan does at least get Nico down, but the position, the jig is up. They know where he is, but the Cillian still can't take him down, but because 3 players are going through drop, they want to go straight in here, but Dupree at least takes down Berry, but Sandon still amongst it. Carrigan tries to be the nuisance, the pest. 25 seconds left. They have to make their move, and they have to make it now, and it's just a Cillian left.
Yeah, you see the rotate coming in as well from Device. That bomb just lying in the hands of Xyp9x. I think that's going to make life difficult for him. 15 seconds. He just needs to find one. Not going to happen. The AWP in the hands of Device does finally find a frag. A little bit of alliteration for you there. 13-2 though. Still, again, comfortable situation relatively for both sides in terms of money. And this round is going to be crucial. One of these teams is going to have to fall to the pistols.
Yeah, it's very true. That 5-round run SK was starting to go on, does get nullified in the end by TSM getting back into this, but looking forward to seeing if Device can find more of that form into this, but still not going to have the opportunity just yet. SK, we know they like to take their time. They're playing it fairly slow. They haven't gone for a fast round yet, but Device might just get challenged out by Berry, who's not having the biggest game. Device backs away respectfully, knowing Xyp9x still has his back, and they once again kind of wipe the slate clean and start all over again.
Intrigued to see if Carrigan can get any more assists in this game. He's currently sitting at 10 assists. He's already a helper. He's got a little elf sat on, and he is just TSM's little helper at this point.
It's not condescending at all.
Not at all. I mean, it's only bloody Carrigan who was the catalyst in TSM's rise to power.
Oh, and look at Nico's position. He's managed to sneak his way in towards drop. No one's really been watching this. They've been playing so passively far back. They're playing so tucked in towards these sites that Nico's had freedom here. They've gotten a lot of map control. Even he's like, how has no one challenged me yet? How? Okay, they're going to have to hold the exit. And he knows exactly where he's going to be. Great intuition from Nico. As Cillian's going to find the other player towards the side, Dupree. And piece by piece, it looks like SK just know that exact way to build that TSM puzzle.
How much of this is Cadian making the calls? They all just seem to have a great understanding of, okay, they're not dropped, this is where they'll be. There's a real kind of step-by-step style to these pushes from SK. Bomb in, and TSM, they're going to be forced to try and clutch onto what they have left. An AWP and an M4, respectively, for the remaining KGB and Xyp9x. I wouldn't be surprised if they unleash Nico and let at least one of them go hunting.
Well, last time Nico was unleashed, he got held back by doors and such.
Oh, I love that clip. I had to watch it back a few times just to see the crouch spam of the door close.
But there are well, there are toilet doors actually on this, but they're the bathroom doors, so I guess you could do that. But the little lock goes red when you go in the bathroom. So
what, the portaloo?
Yeah, it's really cool.
What's like a non-English way to call it? What, portaloo? Portable toilet?
I don't know.
What do people call it? I don't know.
Help us.
Let us know.
All right.
At ESLCS using the hashtag IEM.
Oh, hold on. I want to look at this because TSM are now buying quite a bit into this round. Okay, so SK Gaming 14 rounds, TSM with 12. TSM have got pistols. Dupree went for the 5.7 with a bit of armor, so not too much. When I saw him starting to buy up the armor, I got a little bit nervous then. But KGB and Xyp9x need to be huge in this, and they've changed up the positioning. Carrigan's now come over towards A. Xyp9x is towards B. It's the Nico play again. Let Nico roam towards that B site, and this time Xyp9x is going to stop him. That's going to ring alarm bells. They know Device is on this side. They know Carrigan's here. These guys have been playing static the whole time, and TSM are now starting to form around that SK push. They're starting to make their way towards that A bomb site.
Let's see what TSM can cobble together, and they do. That's another one with the P250. Suddenly, TSM managing to come together with no armor, just pistols. Device nearly does another one, but fortunately, Cillian and Sandon unfazed by those early losses, as they are going to be starting to get that bomb in. Sandon, the one that pumps in the digits. And so TSM, they are starting to piece this together. The two remaining with rifles and armor are still kicking. Carrigan on the push. He's trying to take a risk, and it's going to pay off. Fantastic. Risk v reward again
It's
from
all on
Zipnik.
Cadian.
And Cadian has it all to do. Bomb ticking away. That is in his
It's
favor.
being diffused right now. He needs to be...
Oh, if he'd have hit that shot, Carrigan just pulls it through. No kit needed. And that's going to be TSM picking up a crucial round with just 2 rifles at the start. 14-13, and they stave off that match point.
It literally looked like he whipped his mouse at it if you saw it just kind of like flying across there, just wildly throwing it out there. But still, 14-13, TSM not letting this drop. Just keeping hold of those 2 weapons was so vital to the way that one just played out. And let's see what SK can bring. They have everything at their disposal. They have everything they need here. But then again, so did TSM. The first completely even round almost. We're going to be seeing Carrigan, Cajun B, Dupree on that B side. SK almost all here. Berry on his own, over by the A side. Carrigan, boosting up with the AWP. That's fairly unique here. We haven't seen him do this yet.
Well, we saw Cadian do it and actually have a big problem with a very similar style of execute. We saw 4 TSM members flood through when he was in this aggressive position. Flash completely catches him. Fortunately, he does manage to escape. Not going to be caught just yet. But it's going to come down to this drop control. Something that SK have actually been finding a whole lot of, thanks to Cadian, who's been kind of picking a drop with his AWP time and time again. He's holding that exact same angle. TSM not falling foul to that again, though.
Yeah, they know better, but look at this. Nico taking the leaf out of the Carrigan book. Just going to start working through that smoke, trying to find a pixel out of place, but there's going to be a lot of bullets out of place very soon. Nico needs to be cautious here. Sandon is down. He's made it out of drop, but great work from Nico, opening up the side towards Cajun B. He's gone down, but Carrigan for the 1-for-1 trade is not good enough, but Dupree keeping it in TSM's hold, at least for now, by staying in drop and getting that frag.
Cadian is going to have to be the support here. He needs to be able to keep this statue side safe, and TSM, they realise that the bomb's going to be going in any second now, unless they have something to say about it. It's going to come down to what Berry can find on towards Rock. Bomb is going to be going in, and Cadian trying to wrap as much cotton wool around the
back as well. Asilian is round the back. He needs to be perfect with his timing. He needs to be careful, because look at the TSM are starting to go towards the side. Asilian has to speed up now. 1v3 Bomb. Not really for him, but they're desperate. Look at TSM, they're desperate. Look at him, he knows where they are. He's going to take down the first. He can't get the second. Device will close the round down, and we're back all even. 14-14. TSM are not done in this one just yet. They still have a lot of bite to that bark.
Let's see where they choose to go. It's decision time now for SK, and it looks like a decision has been made. Yep, they're going to be going for it. They're forcing up 3 rifles and a Tech 9 CZ for Cadian and Berry. Full utility. We've seen TSM find success with this. We've seen SK find success with this. And it comes down to which Dane is better with the Force.
Oh, and Berry going a lot faster this time. Device might be challenged quite early on. He's been holding pretty strong on long. He has been challenged too much. Sandon actually joining over as well. So Sandon and Berry towards A.
There's more than just IEM lives on the line here, of course. Pride as well. Remembering, of course, that TSM, that losing once to SK can be shrugged off. Losing twice in very short succession cannot. Cadian's going to be caught out there, throwing out his Molotov, forces Dupree's position. They dart down the CZ, not enough, but Nico's rifle is. And it's a 4v4. TSM starting to read into this one. It's going to be a nice trade out from Asilian. 3v3 here.
Yeah, but Asilian's in trouble. He's got the bomb in hand. He's being chased down by 2 players. His backup's arriving, but slowly. But he's held on. He takes down Cajun B. The last man's Carrigan. They know where he is, surely by now. Switching up to the M4. 9 bullets, and they can't make the shot. And that is exactly what they needed that round. 2 kills for Asilian, 2 for Sandon. And that is them on match point.
So much passion there from Cadian. I actually felt goosebumps as I saw the scream, and we are going to be seeing an SK pause.
It's tactical as well.
Tactical pause at the most crucial round. I don't know what that is. Is that respect? Is that BM? I don't know where to feel or what to. As now, SK.
I think you literally just exhaled at the exact same time. You saw it on your screen there with the main man, Cadian, just taking a second to bring it back down.
So this is going to be an interesting one, because they want to try and get the best idea they can about where TSM are in terms of money. They're not fantastic already. Probably going to be seeing limited economy.
So just to catch you guys up, as we are currently, as you can see, the SK Games are talking this through. TSM at the moment, so Dupree's able to get a gun. He's pretty much got everything he needs, which is only going to be a FAMAS and very basic set of utility. Nothing fantastic there. Device, the same. 0 utility though, but head armor. Carrigan, a 5/7 armor, nothing else, can't afford anymore. And the only player who's not pulled up yet is Zipnix with 2.2k and nothing beyond that. So it's going to be a very shoddy buy-up from TSM in this round. SK, on the other hand, have a fairly decent economy here.
Absolutely, and I mean, we just saw what SK can do on a force. It's kind of time to see what TSM can. And this pull was called out from SK. I'm not sure if it's smart or dumb at this point. Did they want to run with that momentum? You saw just how much momentum was flowing, and kind of adrenaline was flowing through Cadian's veins there. But maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted to get a calm head. They wanted to stay very, very kind of standard, I think is the word. As we are going to be seeing unpause. It's time then, ladies and gentlemen. Will SK pick this one up 16-14? Or will TSM take us into overtime? This is the Intel Extreme Masters, and things are heating up here on stage here at Gamescom. What can TSM piece together? Limited armor, weapons. Let's not write them out of this one just yet.
So here we go. TSM, as we said, don't have much to work with. SK Gaming on the precipice of taking down what you could argue are their bigger brothers almost. The team seen as the very best. And what they do from their region, from their country. But right now, it's going to be SK on the verge. But we know that TSM are talented. These guys can turn it on a dime. However, only 2 players on B this time for TSM. Karrigan's over by A. Device has gone to B, so they've taken a little bit of a switch up here themselves. And SK are not rushing this one. It's a slow and steady approach.
I actually really like Berry's pickup as well, going for that P90. Kind of anticipating that TSM may be a bit more vulnerable to that. Of course, the lack of head armor means he will rip through them if his aim is precise, something he has, admittedly been struggling with in the earlier stages of this game. We're going the full 30 though, folks. And 1 round is all it needs.
It's going to be down to Dupree and Device completely and utterly. Berry's now made his way over. Drop room is being flooded. It's going to be SK. They're going to have to do it right here, right now. And look at this. Dupree's close. Device is there. And Device finds Berry. He finds a second. TSM are not going down without a fight.
Cadian isn't either, though. Does respond with 1. Asilia's there. Could this be another one? It can. Asilia did everything, but TSM, they're taking us into overtime. The Great Danes have some life in them still, as this is going to be going into overtime. I need to catch my breath. And wow, with whatever they could find with the money that was left to them, and this round isn't over. This game isn't over just yet.
SK, you've got to be so careful how you come into this one now. I'm getting flashbacks of overtimes. Ooh. And we've seen it so many moments now going forward that this map always seems to bring us to overtimes.
Indeed, we did see it, not too long ago against Renegades, but does this mean that, TSM are in line with Renegades on Cobble? Or is it the cause? A good, solid read on the team from their own country. There's a whole lot more going on here that may meet the eye. And I mean, we saw Cadian's face when, it feels like so long ago, we saw him on stage with OJ, and when he saw Cobble come up, there was a cheer. There was a cheer, whether or not it's mind games. Cadian loves his mind games.
He does.
He is a big fan of kind of trying to get into the head of the opponent. And
it's kind of interesting him sitting in the middle and not Berry. When I asked him earlier before the event, how's the in-game leading going? How do things work for you? And he said, I'm pretty loud, but it's all Berry normally. But he's in the middle. He's very talkative here.
Absolutely, and I mean, experience is something I suppose he's of course got a bit of a read on TSM, and that's why we have seen a bit more from him in this game. And I mean, as an individual as well, Cadian has been kind of on form.
Yeah.
Finding much more frags in the first half than the second, but still, top fragging was Sandin at the end of that, and Asilian is someone that I cannot sing his praises enough. Every single time we start seeing TSM pick up frags, he's the one trading it out. He seems to be the man who's ready and waiting on the sidelines to pick up that trade-off and keep things as level as possible, and seems to have a level head to do just that. Berry was the only one to fall flat of 20, though. We saw him at 11 frags at the end of that one. Yeah. Every other member of SK hitting at least 20 or above.
To be fair to Berry, he wasn't able to achieve too much every time he went towards A, just kind of holding the rotate, and that's pretty much it. And then occasionally working around the back. I think he did enough.
And, in-game leaders, bottom of the scoreboard.
Yeah, people argue hand in hand.
People argue, but then Happy just says, what are you talking about? So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, question is, looking at what we saw, whenever I see TSM and their T, and let's say they start out on T, I always just have in my mind that when they go on that CT side, they'll become, regardless of the scoreline, they can pretty much close it down, work it out, and they're good. But today they've seemed a little bit shaky, to be completely honest, CT and T. And it is the domestic matchup to the absolute T. We see it so often. Teams and players just always know each other so well, you know, whether it's just because they mix all the time together, you know, you always end up playing games with each other, and you kind of end up knowing people's styles, their preferences of play. And even at a very small, minute level, you see it time and time again.
So, MR3, 10K, and they're going to be starting on the side they just finished on, as we do go into overtime. You know, we said just beforehand, you know, SK, they've been here before.
And I actually wonder if anyone's going to risk the double AWP, because it worked actually quite nicely for, I believe it was SK who ran it first and foremostly. I'd quite like to see that again, but then again, 10K is kind of risky to do it.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting ones.
Well, you saw it with Keydstars, that was the thing. They depended so heavily back in, well, the last time we saw them on having the double AWP, and then sadly in overtime they just weren't able to make that play happen after the first, I think it was like first loss really. It just absolutely took it away. But now hopefully teams are getting themselves ready. They are indeed.
Here we go.
It's overtime. I don't know what to expect. SK was so close to closing that out, but TSM just digging it back at the very end. So this one's going to be momentum, everything based. You know, you can't read into this now at just a tactical level. These guys, what they've said to each other during just that little bit of time then to focus up and get it sorted is going to be absolutely imperative. It will be SK Gaming starting out on the T side, TSM on the CT side. We are into overtime.
And let's see who chooses to start us with a bang, find that first blood, and try and give their team a leg up as we kick this one off. Starting actually with a very similar fashion, 3-2 split for the defenders. TSM readying themselves, and a whole lot of Molotovs thrown out early from SK. They want to try and clear some positions and enable them to push in, gather some intel. And who else but Nico, who finds Device? That's going to be the one man down on A, and does that influence their decision here?
Well, this is different though. Nico was always with the other players on SK, but Berry was the one by A. So they've changed up a couple of little pieces here. You know, a little bit of the plays are now changing. Dupree has found Sandon, but it's going to be dropped. That's overwhelmed with T players. We know that SK like to put their players there. Their presence is certainly well known. But Nico's starting to lead the charge, and it's certainly not towards B.
I think Zipnix has got a good read on this one. He's going to be holding the corner. Something that Asilian is no stranger to. Let's see if he checks it himself. He's going to have to, as KD does go down. Wasn't ready. Went a little too early, but fortunately, Asilian does trade it out in, I mean, a very kind of similar fashion to every single round, as I was saying beforehand. Karrigan holding the cross through smoke, not going to be able to connect as he does go for pot luck, but Cajun B, is he going to be thought of? He's not. They didn't anticipate that one. And TSM, 2 to the good. Going to be looking for that final frag.
Asilian's playing the smart though. He does have a time limit here, and he knows that. Karrigan under pressure, dancing away, and Karrigan going to land the shot there and take the first round of overtime into TSM's hands.
Both sides invested in an AWP. So we are going to be seeing a different decision potentially from SK if they want to go into this one with just the rifles. Yep, we are going to be seeing just AKs then for them into this one, as they realise that things could get a bit troublesome if this round doesn't go their way. Cajun B and Device both picking up AWPs. We haven't seen too much from the double AWP in the main game. Looking to change things here as Berry's got some kind of kooky lineup that he's going to be throwing in towards drop.
And it looks like SK are actually speeding up massively. Look at these guys. They're just going straight out towards the side. The guys from Drop were a little late to the party. Nico was just left out on his own. Sandon does deliver towards Dupree, but Karrigan already had the angle. Now he's got the bomb. And TSM just locked this down. That was a little bit out of place from SK there. That did not look at all. It went right for them. Yeah,
they tried to kind of rip up one of those playbook pages and see if they could make it work out. Didn't quite happen though. I think TSM had a good read on that one, and we are going to be seeing things kind of start to fall a little less than ideal for SK. So again, this time just the one up. Device is the one that picks it up, and SK again mixing it up. They need to find around 3 rounds. Of course, MR3. Oh, what Device just put Nico down, and that's huge. As now SK, they have to play from the disadvantage. They have to make plays happen on T's side, Cobble. You need your numbers. You need to find an entry, and I think it's going to be Device who hunts for a second here.
It looks like they're going to go, and as well, Zimnix is weighing down low. The bomb is loose, so SK's game plan is certainly well known. Dupree already into position. Karrigan watching the cross from long. Berry going to be challenged out soon enough. The Molly's behind, going to encourage the play. They have to make the play now. Sandon does catch out Dupree, so I guess keeping options open, but Carrigan going to adjust around accordingly and wait for Berry to maybe show a pixel out of place, and of course, he'll rip the head off and keep this one at a 2v2. SK looking a little low there. Carrigan taking them lower. And Cajun B with the one tap.
3-0 on the half, and SK Gaming have just received a message in full force. TSM saying this is our game and we are not going to be falling down to your level. This, of course, would bring TSM down to 2 lives. Envious the ones behind this decision, the one that put TSM in this position, and TSM responding by saying, we're not going to make it look easy, but we will pick it up. Let's find out, though, if SK can bring us into a second.
So let's remember, TSM were not flawless on their T side. They were not phenomenal, and SK did do well. So, and we are seeing they're going for it. They have to. Why not? I guess when you're against a team on this pointer, you might as well invest towards it and just give it all you have. They've gone for the double orb to start with. Nico and Cadian both running that, and Nico soloing out on A, and 3 players coming in. Nico has seen them all. He's going to find Carrigan and has to back away. No one else is here to help him. TSM are just flooding the site.
Fortunately, Berry there is to try and make it a bit sweeter. He does. He's a strawberry at this point as Cajun B does take him down. 4v3 now. Cillian ready and waiting for the push. Sandon there as well, trying to find it on towards the ramp. It doesn't. Dupree and Cajun B keeping this level, and this is agonizing as Mouse realize they're one man away from TSM picking up the victory. They worked so hard, but Cillian, he's not done yet.
He has to do this for these boys to stay with a chance to keep themselves literally alive. The flash comes out. Cajun B was just there. The Cillian's managed to cross. He knows the bomb's there, surely. Spraying in 2 bullets, goes for the reload. Cajun B has retrieved the bomb. 45 seconds, they're walking through at each other, and it's Cajun B to come out on top, and TSM keep things in their favor. This was extraordinarily close. Overtime did not do that game justice at all. That was down to the wire. SK pushed TSM, but TSM just pushed back.
Whoa, really good to see the form that SK are finding. Of course, you have to remember so many factors that still haven't really been questioned. Cadian, the trial, Nico filling in for Freeze. Lots of different things going on on the SK camp, and to be able to pick up another result so close to TSM suggests there's good things to come for the, well, second-tier Danes now, I guess. Ouch.
Yeah, they're showing they're still a dangerous team. You cannot underestimate the SK boys. They played well. Sadly, as said, overtime wasn't where they were able to really do much towards TSM, but it ended the way it should, but it was a very good ride to that result.
It was an absolutely turbulent ride, and I'm intrigued to see what the desk has to say about how well SK played, but also TSM's decision coming into the next one.
Thank you very much. I mean, there's a lot to say, whether it sounds a little bit like deja vu or not, but definitely had a lot to say. Of course, we also have a special guest joining us on the panel. Flaren, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
How's it feel to be standing next to such handsome gentlemen?
Are you talking about yourself?
No, no.
Oh,
Be careful now. Be careful now.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, obviously.
I'm flattered.
I feel very blessed and honored to be here with both Anders, the general, and Natu, the oldest guy in the Counter-Strike scene. Other than that.
Hold on.
I've been saying that all day. I was like, Joe, you need to get me on the desk. This gotta happen.
Well, aren't we glad you're here?
Yes.
There's definitely a lot to talk about. We'll have a greater chance after we go through the map pick and the break, of course, to break down this game a little bit. But let's talk. I mean, SK. I don't want to say it again, right? I don't want to say the whole phrase that starts with.
You don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy.
I can be that guy. I've seen this movie so many times. It's the same ending every single time. You have the underdog. They're creeping there. They're so close. That moment where they're like, "We're gonna do this," and then,
oh man,
woo! It's all done.
I did like the pause that they did, though, when it was 15-14 in favor of SK. Taking that pause, just talking things through about, okay, what can we do here? Yeah. I really like that. You don't see that too often, and it's one of those situations where it's actually, it was good that they took it. Yeah, sure, it didn't pan out for them because it went into overtime anyway, but just to talk about it, so, you know, see what they can do is really good.
Well, I mean, so just talking about this whole concept of very nearly making it, then going into overtime, and then sort of crashing out. Since we have an X-Pro and, Someone tried at least. Maybe you guys can help us out and explain what happens mentally. Why does it break down when you're the underdog team? Why can't you just continue like you did in the regulation?
I would say it's hesitation at the point where you need to do that last push, sort of what we saw CLG do all week, actually. They would initially do a good attack, especially if you're on T side, but then when it comes to situations like a 3-on-3, whatever, a 3-on-2, you have the advantage of the situation. You sort of stop moving and give your opponent the upper hand of getting to readjust, and it just all goes to...
Yeah, it's about respect. In reality, it's about respect, right?
Right.
We're so close. We need one more round. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you don't see the pushes that they make, maybe one missed shot because of the stress that the players are put through. It's a lot of things going on in a player's head when you're so close to actually winning, causing an upset.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, there's emotions running through, and like you said, just tons of thoughts going through, and I like that you guys talked about that during the match. You're like, well, actually, that pause, like, that's very clever. It's nice to see that, because they're at least thinking that there are all these factors, and they want to try to calm that down, make sure they try to secure it. Didn't pan out for SK, but now it's time to find out who's going to play the next match. TSM just had to take a life off of their Danish brothers. The alliance has been broken down, but how will the rest of the tournament pan out? Will TSM put Envy in trouble again? It's time to find out on the stage with the man who got left behind at the barbershop back in 1998.
At least I go to a barbershop. At least I go. So then, yes, I'm with 50% of the Danish alliance. There are easy ways to win games. There's hard ways to win games. And then there's that way.
I mean, that was a hard game. I started to sweat in the end of the match because it got way too close for us.
And you mentioned me before. You don't play that map.
I mean, it's not a secret if you know how the ban system works. You have one bad map, and that's what you usually ban against other top teams. So this tournament makes us play it 2 out of 3 days, and I guess we have to play tomorrow as well.
Who knows? Well, I guess it will come up again tomorrow, depending on how it pans out. I was talking to Finesse before, and he was saying there are maps like Inferno. We just don't play Inferno. Before we do this sort of tournament again, which we might do, would you practice these maps more?
I mean, you still need to practice to have a good map pool, but sometimes you just look at the other teams and you just say top 4 teams in the world, they're good in Cobblestone, so it doesn't make sense for us to play Cobblestone. But sometimes you need to have a wider map pool, and that's what the tournament does. So we have to look for the major and try to practice Cobblestone harder.
Final question before we get into the map vote, and that is, you've obviously just beaten SK Gaming, your Danish brothers. Is the alliance now broken?
No, not really. I mean, you can only get us to so far. Like, they need to beat one of the other teams to get into top 3 and top 4, and now it's up to them, because right now we also think about ourselves, and that's meaning we need one of the favorites to lose a map.
All right then, right, let's go for the map vote. You know how this works. It's all been done by the community. It can't be a map we played today already. What number?
Number 3.
Who chose that? Was one of your teammates saying that? Oh, it's Train! Thank you to Grishanya, 1148, who's chosen that one. Train. Lots of people wanting Train. 4 trains, 2 caches, 1 Mirage, 1 Overpass. So Train is the map. Now, I've spoken to Spongy backstage, and he's got a theory on who you're going to choose next. I've spoken to our Desk Monkeys, and they've got a theory on who you're going to choose. I spoke to the guy who does catering, and he's got a theory. I have got no idea. So who's the first team?
Team Envious.
Team Envious. So they're either going to take on Mouse Sports, who have 1 life, or they're going to take on their Alliance brothers from Australia, who have 1 life. Who is the team?
Mouse Sports.
It's Mouse Sports! Envious versus Mouse Sports. Spongy gets to carry on sitting around drinking coffee. It's going to be a great matchup. Envious taking on Mouse Sports, and that is up next.